to make sure that the labor has lagged behind.
Wait a minute, John.
In fast food, I can tell you about fast food because I know fast food.
You know fast food. Wait a minute.
Okay.
What was your profit margin percentage of the profit that you made?
It depends, but I would be.
Give me on
I would have
average.
been comfortable with anywhere between 7 and 10% on
Well,
profit
we
margin.
just talked about Walmart. The Walmart profit
But yeah,
is only
that's not fast food.
Well, Walmart profit is only 4%.
That's not fast food.
But still, it's
No,
percentage.
totally different business altogether. That's just like fast food business. You can't even take the same profit margin when you take a look at sit-down bit in restaurants, and they're both in the same field.
Right.
Because not only is the volume different, but the nature of the business is different. So
I
you
understand
can't
that. I
compare
understand.
Walmart.
Now, John-
But now, in fast food, you've got two things that you got to pretty much make money with.
Mhm.
You know, you've got variable costs and you've got fixed costs. The
Mhm.
fixed costs you can take a look at, you know, contractually,
Mhm.
changing those 6 months, yearly, however when the contract goes. But the variable costs, those are going to increase as the business increases and decrease as
Right.
it decreases. On the variable cost side, the two largest components are going to be your labor costs and your food costs.
Mhm.
Now, the food costs, you can deal with that by making sure that they don't abuse the portion control,
Mhm.
that food don't go out the back door.
Mhm.
With the labor costs,
Mhm.
oftentimes it's difficult, but controlling the labor. No more do a lot of businesses use a formula to determine labor based on the percentage of sales.
Mhm.
And oftentimes, when an employee is supposed to be there taking care of customers, they're doing something else. And so the customers are kind of cruising around in the store by themselves, so the service is lacking. But when you take a look at the labor costs, that's probably the second major thing outside the food costs in the
Understand.
fast food industry
Understand.
that you're looking at. And if you abuse the labor, then what's going to happen is, you know, no matter what you say, the labor market is going to get even if you abuse it.
Mhm.
The product's going to walk out the door, and a whole lot of other things. And so it is best to take care of them. Now that doesn't mean that you give them the whole farm.
John, but we're
But-
talking about 4.3% of the labor force is at minimum wage. So now, and I don't mean to cut you off, we're
No,
running
no.
out of time, but $15 an hour.
Mhm.
If you're gonna pay the guy that's making $7.25 an hour,
You know how much a hamburger costs now?
let me finish. And what about the guy that's working the same job that he's at $10 an hour?
Well, let me ask you this.
Will you be increasing his money to $7.50 an hour?
You working food? Fast food?
He's working the same job, not the same job, but in the same restaurant. One employee making $7.50 an hour. You're gonna increase him out to $15 an hour. That's $7.50. So the guy that's making $10 an hour, will you be increasing his pay?
No, that's not what he said. You have to, minimum is the starting point, is the starting point.
I understand.
Now, let me ask you this.
But somebody's making $10 an hour.
Huh?
He's not at the starting
It
point.
didn't say double everybody's salary. That's not what it
But
says.
you're gonna look at.
It
You're
says
gonna have to
starting
increase.
point.
But you gotta increase everybody's salary.
No. You don't have to increase everybody's salary
So
to
what would you-
double it.
well, wait a
You would
minute.
have to increase it some proportion, yeah. Because then what we're getting into is
What would you
we're getting
increase?
into what they call in business when you're looking at it the relative worth of the job.
But
And the
what would
relative
you
worth of
increase-
the job is a whole new thing to take a look at.
So the guy at $7.50 an hour.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
What would you pay the guy that's making $10 an hour?
Establish a relative worth of the job based on in the company and outside.
We
the
already
company.
got the relative work of it. That's
No. You have to do a study to do that. But now, a hamburger used to cost. You go to McDonald's used to be and get a hamburger for less than $1.
Well, that's not real meat.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about.
Don't know the real meat now. You know, they don't know the real
But
meat.
the hamburger cost has more than tripled, but the minimum wage hasn't more than tripled.
No.
And so, if the cost to the customer has more than tripled, then why would not the wage at least double?
Okay, well,
Because the profits have gone directly into the hands of McDonald's. And I mean, You can go, the truth is right now, you can go to a sit-down restaurant and eat just about as cheap as you can go into McDonald's.
Yeah,
Or Burger King.
I agree.
Or Chick-fil-A.
But you're gonna have to deal with all the wages in that job, in that restaurant, all the wages. Not
Yeah,
everybody
you
makes
should.
that, but
You
so
should.
everybody's wages is gonna go up.
But that's the internal relative worth of the job. So everybody's wages does
Gonna
go
go.
up, but,
And the minimum is 15.
well, that's a starting point, yeah.
So there's nobody on that job that's gonna be making less than $15 an
Let
hour.
me ask you this. If you were at $7.50 and they raised you to 15, and say somebody else who was at 10 and they only raised them to 18. Now, oh, mine didn't double. Well, would you rather go back to 7 and then be raised back up, or go get you another job? Or would you be rather, that $7.50 increase that was not fair from the start, that means that all the time you've been at $10, you've been getting more of a fair shake than the man on the bottom. And so now you're complaining that he's finally doing the man on the bottom end of the totem pole fair. Now, you know what's gonna come out of my mouth next. That's like, that's like in the Bible. The guy who had and did, the story where he gave to the workers who came later in the vineyard
Yeah, I
a full
understand.
day's pay.
Right.
Now, that's his money. You can't get upset because they do the right thing with their money in terms of McDonald's.
Well,
And they
McDonald's is
finally
saying that
start
that job is only that job is only worth $7.50. Take it or leave it.
That's what McDonald's say. That's not, everybody lives under government regulation.
Okay, that's
in
fine.
America.
That's fine.
So the government saying, I'm gonna disagree with you, because there's some people that say, well,
Government's not running
I
that
know-
business.
Some people, no, but with a
You're still
law that says that you have to pay this much, and if you don't, now you are breaking the law. You have to be a law-abiding citizen.
You're right. I'll tell you what.
So-
Let me tell you what's going to happen.
You know
And
what?
Bill Gates said.
You know why you know why the business not gonna leave? Because the business knows that they're making so much profit that they may try and bluff, but at the end of the day, they're still making good money.
Let me tell you what Bill Gates said.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "You raise that minimum wage, you're going to force companies to go automation, and you're going to lose those jobs." That's what he said.
Listen,
That's what he said, John.
did you read
Bill Gates?
Did you read the whole case about Microsoft and Bill Gates and why he retired?
Well, I know about
Read
that. John.
read the whole case. So I don't take that much stock in Bill Gates when it comes to
John, they're going to go to
Them
their
listening.
kiosk. You ain't have no pretty little girl out there trying to sell you that hamburger. You're going to have the kiosk like they do at the when you go to the
I
airport.
very seldom eat a hamburger. Anyway, unless I get it off my own grill.
Right.
But if they automate the automation and the maintenance on automation, a lot of times what they found costs more than having the workers. And so for some of them that go automation, they find that they've hurt themselves. And the automation, decreases the amount of people in the market with expendable money, so there's no return on the money for them.
Mhm.
There's no return on the money for them back into their store. And so there has to be a balance. There could be too much technology into an environment.
Well, they're going to be, it's coming, John. It's coming. And we can raise that
Some
minimum
automation
wage.
is good.
We raise that minimum wage, it's coming, But
What's coming? More money for the worker on the bottom?
what happens is that maybe it'll be creating more jobs in technology. If there are more
It's possible.
computers and stuff like that. Anyhow,
Minimum wage, let it go ahead and go up to $15 an hour.
unemployment right now is high.
Yeah.
But it's going to get higher.
Business will always find a way to make a profit.
That's what
And
they're gonna
if you
do.
allow them,
They're going to replace
and if
those
you allow them,
$15
they will
bills.
abuse the law in order to get it. So there has to be oversight to look for the people.
John, they're going to replace them. They're going to replace those people with machines. And you're an engineer. You know.
Like
You don't tell me that they
Like,
can't do it.
like Home Depot that replaced them with, you going to Home
That's
Depot
right.
now.
Sure enough, example. That's what's gonna
Ain't some
happen.
more people going over to Lowe's. I have not gone into Home. Now, listen, I
Lowe's
probably,
haven't done it yet.
I used to probably